When you lose something in New York, it don't come back.
Oh, lost dog!
Please help! We miss her!
Name is Kirby!
Has one eye and a red harness!
Lost backpack. Valuable items? 2 beanie babies. 1 toy dolphin. Mostly near the bag. If I'll, please call.
Found bird. If you think it's yours, please call. This is not a picture of the actual bird, but one that looks very much like it. Well, there was the teeth. My mother, she had these 3 gold teeth and they disappeared. She kept them in this little box, you know, and she took them out and they disappeared.
Your ring, your wallet, my glasses. Who want my glasses? She never lost nothing. She was a school teacher.
I never lost nothing. I had laser surgery.
Yeah, they say it's a snap. It don't hurt, but that ain't true.
It ain't true. That's why I wear these glasses. I had laser surgery.
Always figured Stubby took them to sell them for the gold, you know. But now that I think about it, Stubby Langle, not Stubby Woods. Stubby Woods the guy that Fred shot in the forehead with the BB gun. But I'm sure that Stubby Langle had a hand in the teeth.
My first day away, this guy just appeared on this big elevator shaft. It was filled with 3, 4 feet of water, and the smell, oh, something disgusting. Well, his body was spread out all over the place, and it was my job to find all the parts and put in the body bag. I started to get, and the guys are yelling down at me. Hey, rookie, how you doing? They're laughing. Your first day away. Still laughing. Just gotta laugh.
Lost picture of my father in a field of daffodils. Great sentimental value. If found, please call. Could I talk about losing a husband? I'd certainly have a lot to say on that subject.
No? You don't want to talk about people? Well, honey, listen. When you're as old as I am, and you lost as many things as I have, the material things, they just simply don't matter at all.
Hey, ma'am, can I help you?
No! I can play.
Things I've lost in a loony bin, 1994. Lost my toothbrush, my sweater, all my socks, my sense of humor, the plot, any sense of self-worth, on the will to live.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When I was 8, I lost my innocence. Playing doctor it was tense, but I found out that experience is great. When I was 8. When I was 17, lost my virginity. You know it really wouldn't bother me if afterwards I had to be so mad. When I was 17. Gone, gone missing. Gone, gone missing.
When I was 29, I lost my way. My mother thought that I was gay, but I think I was just waiting for a sign. When I was 29,
When I was 33, I lost my cool. I was 10 years out of school and as old as Jesus Christ would ever be. When I was 33.
Gone, gone missing. Gone, gone missing.
2. When I was 61, I lost the war. I don't recall what it was for, but I remember I had never had such fun. When I was 61.
Gone, gone missing. Gone, gone missing. Gone, gone missing. Gone, gone missing.
Well, it is kind of hazy. I keep blocking it out, but it was 1993 and 1995. Or it was 1993 or 1995. Anyway, so I had this scarf that I borrowed from my sister. It was this beautiful scarf. It was an Agnes B scarf. I don't even think she knew I took it. Well, one night I took my girlfriend on a date, and we went to this bar, Henrietta Hudson. It was on Hudson. So when we got there, we put all our bags and stuff on this pool table, and then this big crowd came in after us, and they took over the pool table. And then this girl, and it might have been my mistake, but this softball dyke took my scarf. And you know what? It really pisses me off, even today, that this scarf, this beautiful scarf, this Agnes B scarf, got in such uncouth hands. And you know where I picture it? I picture it balled up with a cat on it. Or worse, in an SUV. In an SUV with a fucking cat balled up on it. I hated softball before, but I hate it even more now.
Hi, it's Laura. So I called Tom about this embarrassing issue, and now I'm calling you. I think I left one of my pumps at PS 122 last night, but I'm back in Los Angeles and I can't go to the theater myself, and I like my good shoes and it's embarrassing.
Yes, and you know Laura? So she had some meeting with some big TV people last night, and she had on this like nice skirt and everything. And so somewhere, like after that meeting, we decided to go out to eat, you know? And so she changed the bathroom at PS 122 because she felt overdressed. And so she lost one of her Gucci pumps. She thinks she left it in the bathroom, but I think she lost it later that night when we went out drinking.
Hi, it's Laura. So I was really hoping you could have secured the shoe before you left town, but apparently you have not. So I have been working with Tom, and Tom has gone back to PS 122 numerous times, and I have left numerous messages for the house manager, the artistic director, and the director of development to see if they've gotten their act together enough to find the shoe. So I'm working on a packet of flyers. I'll be sending them to you, to Tom, to Big Daddy, and to Elizabeth, and I'll be sending maps of where I'd like you guys to post the flyers, just in case someone sees some, I don't know, one-legged person wearing it who wears a size 6. Then it'll become clear whose shoe that is and where they need to send it to in Los Angeles immediately. I'm working on the flyers. Oh, and I've also started an email address. I lost my shoe at earthling.net. So, I don't know if you've gone back to PS 122 or not. No one ever returns my calls and it's really depressing.
Yeah, so Laura sent me JPEGs of her shoe. And she wants me to post them around PS 122. Lost black Gucci pump. But it was really just a basic black pump.
What, my cat? No, someone took it. Stole it. It had a Korean name. Nabby. Yeah, it means butterfly. I'm pretty ticked off the person who took Nabby. She's my best friend. Made me real, happy to see her. I guess I could get another cat now. I really just miss her.
What? Oh, the cat. Yeah, I gave that away. See, in the deli, it was running around, making me real angry. It always got in the food, and that's no good, so I gave it to my friend in Queens. It had a Korean name. Nabi.
It means butterfly, so naturally it flies away.
I'll admit I have a problem holding on to things. A sock, a book, a clock, a look, a chance. And the moment that a fella lends me his umbrella, it's just another doomed romance. I've learned to never worry about losing things. A car, a pin, a star, some gin, a bet. But then he said that we were through, and suddenly I knew there was one loss of regret. I've lost diamonds and pearls, love letters from Earth, and more suitors than girls usually do. But from this great list, I would have to insist that the only thing missing is you. I had Barbies, and then my mom called to mention they're all, as the French say, pair do. Even Barbie had Ken, but I'm left with Rien, 'cause the only thing missing is you. And silly as it seems, I've lost all my dreams when we said adieu. And I think now you'll find that I lose my mind when I think of you. And no one has solved the case that involved a revolver from my game of Clue. Well, I've still got the knife, but what good is my life? And with all that I've lost, no, I don't mind the cost. Think what my nephew Chris just lost at his bris. And you'll have to admit that it's true, that the only thing missing, do you miss the kissing? The only thing missing is you.
We get a lot of DOAs, and sometimes they're badly decomposed. Sometimes they're partially mummified, if it's summer with the heat. I don't know why this is, but a lot of times, old women. And they'll be naked. I don't know why, but it's summer, and it's warm. I mean, I do it, and I'm sure you do too. You walk around with no clothes on. But that's not the way they want to be found, you know?
Nostalgia. Now, Doctor, before the break, you mentioned Atlantis.
That's right, Terry.
Which is a continent.
Terry, if it was a continent, how do we lose it?
That's a pretty big thing to lose.
Right. It's not like a toothbrush or a little box of cookies.
Right. So, Atlantis it's a myth, right?
I'd prefer to call it a literary fiction, because we have an original source for this story, in the work of Plato.
The philosopher.
Yes. Plato, in his dialogues, told the story of a fantastic island. He said it was bigger than all of Asia Minor, and it lay beyond the Pillar of Hercules. The Pillar of Hercules is now the Straits of Gibraltar. So that would place it in?
The Atlantic Ocean.
Right, the so-called Atlantic.
And we call it the Atlantic because...
Yes, I do crave your indulgence here, Terry, but Plato uses Atlantis for a philosophical argument. Because what do we know about Plato's philosophy? That the things in this world are inferior. They're shadowy, imperfect versions of some kind of ideal.
A Platonic ideal.
Sure. So there's this ideal. Let's say, justice with a capital J. I don't know. But everything on earth that we call justice is a shadowy, imperfect version of that.
So then how does this take us to a lost continent?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Terry. Atlantis didn't get lost. What we're talking about is a specific locus for our nostalgia. The Garden of Eden. In the classical world, it's the Golden Age. More mythic places like this too. Xanadu, Shangri-La.
Brigadoon?
Correct. And one of the funny things about Atlantis is that most people thought it was situated in the Sargasso Sea.
Well, I lost my job. I lost all of my money. I had nothing left. Everything was gone. But you don't want that, right? Only things? Like I lost something? I'll think about it.
La bodega. Se me perdió la cartera, quizás la dejé en la bodega. No me hiciera falta, sino que llevaba adentro la única foto que yo tenía de ti. Le pregunté al señor de la bodega, pero él se encogió de hombros. Me vendió unos grillos y un cartón de leche. ¿Te recuerdas la noche en ese hotel cuando tú no pudiste encontrar tu billetera y estaba esa señora extraña, la que usaba peluca, y ella nos dio comida sin cobrarnos nada? Ahora te pienso cada vez que compro tequila, pero sin tener esa foto. Olvido cómo te pareces y quizás una persona cualquiera que va a esa bodega ahora tiene tu foto y con ella mi cartera y con ella mis sueños de ti.
Can I talk about losing a husband? I'd certainly have a lot to say on that subject.
No, honey, no.
No, well, I could talk about losing something.
Losing something? Oh my god, I used to have this silver ring with a gold buckle on it. I had this ring for years. It was a manly ring, you know. It was manly. But wait, that's not the point. This is it.
Wait, let me tell you something. My uncle saves his entire life. Chinos. Lives through the Depression, saves old rubber bands. Well, when I opened my wedding gift from him, there was this big saffron jewel right in the middle. It was like this, surrounded on both sides by two small diamonds. I was like, whoa.
Yes, it was like a talisman. And I had this ring for 8 or 9 years. It was a small thing, but it was big because I loved it.
When I was a little girl, about 8 years old or so, I got a very special ring from my mother and father. Or from Santa. That's who I thought it was from at the time, Santa, but what did I know? I was just a kid. This was right after the Depression, so it was a very special ring. I wore it every day, and I never took it off.
See, I wore it all the time for the last 40 years and I never took it off. But I lost one of the small diamonds. It fell out. So I wanted to get it fixed. So I put it in my purse to go get it fixed.
¿Te recuerdas de la noche en ese hotel? Cuando tú no pudiste encontrar tu billetera y estaba esa señora extraña, la que usaba peluca, y ella nos dio comida sin cobrarnos nada. Se me perdió la cartera en la bodega.
You know what? 6 months later, I remember that ring was in the purse, but purse just wasn't there anymore. Maybe I gave it to the Salvation Army or that woman's shelter.
Girl, you know how I lost my ring?
How?
You know how I lost my ring?
I
How'd
said
you
how?
lose it?
It went down the drain while I was in the shower.
What an idiot.
Well, I remember thinking, my ring is slipping off, but, you know, I was in the shower. Everything's flowing.
Wasn't the only thing flowing.
Well, and I had this ring for 8 or 9 years, so why would it come off now?
Well, a few years later, I was out with my future husband,
Nobody cares.
and he had taken me to a party. Well, it could have been a party, could have been a wedding, could have been a lot of things. The point is, I had to go to the bathroom. I asked him to hold my ring so that when I washed my hands, it didn't fall off in the drain.
You have better sense than this one.
I remember I asked him to hold my ring, and I remember I told him to put it in the breast pocket of his white shirt or something like that. Well, after the party, we went out to the park. Well, couldn't have been a park, it could have been a car. The point is, we had a makeout session. I certainly wasn't thinking about the ring then, that much I can assure you.
You know what they say about married couple? That when they first get married, the engagement ring feels very present. Like a reminder of the commitment, I think. You know, and the ring leaves an indentation. So, the indentation was there, but no ring. I just didn't realize it.
Oh, see, this was in 2000 when my uncle, he was 98 and very, very frugal. Well, I got a nice inheritance from him, and I put it all in the stock market, and it just went.
Well, the next day, I realized that he had the ring. But back then, you just couldn't call your man at the office like you do today.
Of course not.
I had to wait until after 5. Well, by that time, he had already taken the shirt to the cleaners. The cleaners didn't have it, of
He
course.
probably stole it.
Yeah, when I looked down at the drain and saw that the ring was gone, I was like, oh, must have come off during the shower. And I never saw anything like it again.
My uncle, he probably knows somehow I let him down. That all of his money is gone and the ring is just so irresponsible on my behalf. I mean, think of it. Really think about it. The sad irony of this frugal man saving everything and I turn around and lose it all. The ring, 90% of his money. It's like I've erased him. Like every last bit of him has vanished.
My purse lost Cesar from me. Perhaps I left it at the store. I wouldn't have cared, except for I carried within the only photo I had of you. I asked the man at the store, but he just shrugged his shoulders. He sold me some cigarettes and a carton of milk. Do you remember that night at the hotel where you couldn't find your wallet? There was this strange woman, the one who wore a wig, and she gave us dinner without charging us a thing. But now I think of you each time I buy tequila. But without having that photo, I forget what you look like. And perhaps the person who could be anybody who goes into that store now has your photo, and with it, my purse, and with it, my dreams of you.
That ring really meant so much to me. I never told my parents that I lost it. I couldn't. Knowing what it meant for them to buy it for me, I felt so ashamed. You know, my husband, God rest his soul, I won't talk about him, he bought me another one a few years later, but it wasn't as nice. It was white gold and it had 2 diamonds on the side. It wasn't as nice as that simple pearl ring. That was a long time ago, but you know, I still feel emotional about it.
Naturally.
Well, I lost my job. I lost my job. I lost my job. I lost all my money. I had nothing left. Everything was gone. But you don't want that, right? Only things like I lost something. I'll think about it.
Seems to me I always used to play hide and seek, and I would wait so patiently for someone to come and look for me. And I can't remember just how long I'd sit there. I've forgotten. Seems I can't hold on to anything at all. I've lost the 4th grade journal and the sweatshirt that was ruined when I hid inside the closet and knocked my mother's perfume from the shelf. I smelled for weeks like I was going somewhere. Seems to me I'm always spilling something, losing something, seeking something, hiding somewhere in my mother's pretty blouses, waiting till they come and find me. But they're not coming, no, they're not coming. So I'm waiting in the dark, feeling just like Alice Adams when she tries to throw a party, but nobody comes. Seems to me I always used to play hide and seek, and I am seeking something other than whatever there is now. If I could find some sort of memory to give me some connection, and I wonder, why is no one seeking me?
Well, I didn't lose anything, but my friends found a dinette set. Tables and chairs, nice. Wood. We were just, 4 guys living in the same apartment. We would eat on the couch or on the end table. Well, anyway, though, with the table, we would all gather around it, eat together once a week. Now, didn't really help us eat any better. Just brought us closer together. We were good friends.
A lot of times we'll be called in because the neighbors smell garbage or gas, and we'll find a body. And a lot of times, pets will, not cats, but dogs, and mice and rats. A lot of times, when we find a body, we'll throw a book at it, and you'll see the mice and rats run out. Eels, too. If we find a DOA that's a floater, the eels will slither into their body, and when we fish the body out, the eels will crawl out.
So, Doctor, where is the Sargasso Sea exactly?
Funny enough, just in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not a sea per se, though. It's a region of the Atlantic. But would it spook you, my dear? if I told you that it overlaps with the Bermuda Triangle.
Another place where things go missing.
Right. But that's how we see things about the ocean. You throw something in, you'll never get it back. But no, not with the Sargasso Sea. Because it's not a place where things get lost. It's a place where things get found.
You mean like flotsam and jetsam, or?
Everything, my dear. What gets lost in the sea, it turns up there. You've read the Captain Nemo, the...
Right, Jules Verne.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, yes. And when the submarine, Nautilus, takes his tour of Atlantis, first he describes all this stuff, simply because it's full of seaweed. A particular type the Portuguese sailors call sargasso. It collects cork, driftwood, things like that. But it also, and this is the best part, it collects eels.
Eels?
Yes, those slippery fellows, known to the Japanese gourmet as unagi.
Yum.
My sentiments exactly. But here, this is one of those facts that sounds stranger than the fiction. You see, Terry, every eel in Europe has to swim there to mate, to the Sargasso Sea. And thus, the baby eels are born. But this is a mystery. We don't know how. But then the eel larvae find their way back, all the way from the Sargasso Sea back to Europe.
And would you say those eels are nostalgic?
Who can really say? But if whatever is lost in sea turns up at the Sargasso Sea, maybe those eels are like those people rummaging around at the Salvation Army.
Are you there? It's Laura. Okay, so you know I went to Brazil, right? And I flew to Rio, and I'm taking a taxi cab from the airport to go to my hotel. And what do I find on the floor of the taxi cab? Are you sitting down? What do I find on the floor of the taxi cab? I'm not fucking kidding you. I find my shoe. Okay, so I lost my left shoe, left Gucci pump. And I found a left Gucci pump, but I'm like shaking because I feel like I'm in some fucking time machine, black hole, sci-fi movie like Logan's Run, because there's no way this could fucking happen at all. And then I go through my bag and realize that the stuff in my bag is missing, and that was like a Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe kind of thing. And then I realized that the stuff in my bag that had disappeared had fallen into this like crevice, because my bag has this weird back pocket thing. And the shoe was in that pocket. And then my bag opens up, my shoe falls out, my stuff falls in, and I'm thinking, I'm in a fucking Tesseract! You know, Wrinkle in Time, Madeline Lango, remember that book? Anyway, like I was saying.
Yeah, so did you hear that Laura has been carrying around her shoe with her this whole time? I think she thinks it's funny. It's not funny! Oh my God!
He left me Palm Pilot, you know.
I left my cell phone in the cab when I got out.
So this is the story of the loss of Sniffle.
Cow! Cow! Ow! Come get this dog! It's by my leg and it just smelled it farted. Ow! Might have to go outside.
Dad and I knew 3 girls on a car trip in Iowa. It was during Easter vacation, and we went to see the Amana colonies in Iowa with all the Amish people living there. Yeah, where the Amana refrigerators come from, exactly. You were in maybe 1st grade, and the twins were in 4th grade, and we were stuck in Grinnell, Iowa on the way down. And there was that horrible snowstorm, and when we stayed in a motel in Grinnell, and when we could finally leave the next day, the drifts were 8 feet high, and we were very excited to get out of god-awful Grinnell. And we were in the car for about 30 minutes when Ingrid suddenly asked, very worried, where's Sniffle?
That there dog? That's Boykin Spaniel. But our first dog, Boone, he was a hunting dog. Chocolate lab. That dog was amazing at escaping. He was so amazing at escaping, I'd build a brick-bottom pen for him so that he wouldn't be able to dig his way out. Then I'd put an electric fence around the bottom of the perimeter. That dog would do anything to escape. He used to have, remember, bloody gums and abscesses from trying to bite through the wire? This one time, caught him reaching over the fence and he bit down on the spindle with his teeth. This great blue lark jumped all the way over from the generator all the way to his face, sustained a shock for at least 30 seconds. Well, anyway, eventually he was able to bite through that wire till, he was able to pull up on the fence and proceed to dig his way out. Well, this one time, got a call from my sister up in South Carolina saying that Boone had escaped. They hadn't seen him for a week.
So later,
I was so exhausted, so I just totally spaced on the phone. I called the number later when I got home, and nothing. I called and called and called and just kept getting voicemail, you know? And then finally the phone picks up, and I hear these girls talking in the background. The one girl was like, "Girl, you and that stupid phone you found," or something. And I could hear rustling and stuff because the phone was in her pocket or something. And so I started yelling, you know? I was like, "Hey, hello!" And I started making all this high-pitched noise and stuff so she would hear me. I was like, "Woo, hey, this is my phone!" And I'm so fucking exhausted, dude. I'm just so tired. "Hey, this is my phone." And then I hear it just like rustled and shut off. I'm like, fuck.
Now, Sniffle was this tiny sock doll, a little doll made from a nylon anklet, and you girls each had one. Yours was red, and Allison's was yellow, and Ingrid's was light blue. And neither you nor Allison were particularly attached to yours, but Ingrid loved hers, and she named it Sniffle. So we're in the car, and Sniffle has disappeared, and Dad guessed that maybe Sniffle got left behind in the hotel room, so we drove back and talked to the lady at the front desk.
Anyway, guess another 3 weeks passed, and we just got to the place in our hearts where we knew Boone must be dead, so we stopped praying and asking God. We told the girls, packed up the truck, drove back down Louisiana.
I had this image of these two girls fucking hanging out in Central Park, walking through the park in school uniforms with my phone in their backpacks. No, they're not sexy, just like regular school uniforms. Anyway, this image is so clear to me, I'm like, fuck. And I call back and they don't answer.
And you girls were all huddling around Dad and me, and the lady said that everything that got left behind in the hotel room got thrown away and was probably in the dumpster out back. And poor Ingrid began sobbing. And then you and Allison started to cry because you felt so sad for your sister. And the poor lady felt so bad. And then Dad was quiet for a few seconds, and he just asked the lady if he could take a look in the dumpster. So I took you girls to the car, and your dad got on his ski pants and his big sorrel boots, and he climbed in there. The dumpster was absolutely enormous, and every once in a while you could just see the top of Dad's hat as he rummaged around in there. He must have been in there for about 30 minutes. It was freezing cold outside, and we kept wiping off the windows because they kept fogging up from our breathing.
But anyway, as soon as we got back in the house, got a call from my sister. Someone found Boone.
So a couple of days later or something, I try again, and this woman picks up. I say, hello, this is my phone. I left it in a cab. Please don't hang up.
And then all of a sudden, Dad's arm shot up above the top of the dumpster, and there was Sniffle in the palm of his hand, and Ingrid cried.
And packed up the truck, drove another 12 hours back up South Carolina. Boone, you looked at him? See all his bones sticking out? Lost all his fur? Looked just like a sack of bones. Well, anyway, you know the amazing thing is that Jake, my sister's 10-year-old son, as soon as we had all done giving up our praying and asking God, he did not stop believing. And he did not stop believing until Boone showed back up.
And she was like, yeah, I just got out of rehearsal. I'm a dancer. Do you know where Capizio's is? And I was like, I'm a dancer too. So she left the phone for me at Capizio's.
It turned out that Sniffle had been in a pile of some awful kitchen garbage or something, and had all these dark smudges all over her. And of course, Dad didn't want Ingrid to have Sniffle until we could wash her off, but Ingrid was desperate to hold Sniffle, and she rocked back and forth with such love.
And packed Boone back in the truck and drove him down. And lived a good life with us for what? What'd you say? After 3 years or so? Don't care? What's up with that? After 3 years or so, well, eventually Boone passed, and didn't really have a funeral though. I just don't believe the dogs are going to be in heaven. I mean, it says in the Bible all the amazing things that are going to be in heaven, like, you know, angels and seraphim, but I just don't think dogs are going to be in heaven. I just kind of think dogs are best friends that you have for a little while, then you carry them around with you for the rest of your life, in your heart, and in your memories.
Oh, and the worst part of this whole story is, 2 hours after I got the phone from Capizio's, I was fucking running up the steps, and I tripped and fucking cracked the whole phone. It was in my pocket, and my hip landed on it and broke it. I had that huge fucking bruise.
And your father was covered in coffee grounds and all sorts of horrendous stuff. And looking back on it now was a very beautiful experience. Of course, back then it was probably smelly and exhausting and stressful. but I can still remember Ingrid's face all red and swollen from tears as she hugged Sniffle. Would you like a glass of wine, darling?
See, last week on pilot, you know, running from World Trade. See, I work out battery purgatory at day and World Trade at night. When that first plane hit, me boss man him say, go on down to the baseball field and secure the area from government people don't come. So I'm checking ideas, you know, securing the area for them Secret Service come down the helicopter and land in the fields. So I remember I rode my bike down and you know what? The clap pump pilot must fall out my clothes. When that first building fall, I remember it. You could see the cloud coming down. And you can see below, but you couldn't see nothing above it, you know. So we fell up on the ground. And when we got up, we were covered white like duppy. The American word would be ghost. So I remember I grabbed the hose and I sprayed it upon my face and I sprayed it upon my head. I was in charge, you know, so I knew where everything was. When that second one fall down, I remember we had to start running, and we ran all the way down to Stuyvesant High School. That's when Tracy find it, you know. The police informer tell her they find me Palm Pilot, and she says she know me, and she called me, and that's when I got it back.
In my case, I lost all my possessions, but then I lost my mind. I gave it all to a Maharaja. He was 16. In New York, not in India. We would meditate. The goal was to become egoless. You know, so by giving away all your earthly goods, you become egoless. But there was this place, a store sort of, where you'd bring all your things, and God only knows what they did with it then. There's still some things I'm sad I gave away. One would be this little wooden tugboat that my mother gave to me, and her mother gave to her, and hers to her, and I'm sure it had been in the family for generations, but it was just a crazy time.
Been thinking about the way you left, and about the things you used to say. Said you had given me your heart, said we would never be apart. Now you call and ask to come on by. Say you left things behind and I could give you all your things, but why should I when you made me cry? Would you give my heart back to me? So if you're missing the clothes you left by the bed, I gave them away. And those old books that you read, I gave them away. You chose to play with my head, and if you've lost all your power to sleep at night, you've lost your belief things will be alright. You can't find your strength or your will to fight. Well, I've got all that too, and I'm not gonna give it back. I had some pretty amazing hallucinations from the meditating. There's this one I remember. I was with this guy, and his face sort of turned into a flame, growing up elongated like whoosh! And then he said, if the face of God frightens you, don't look. Pretty wild stuff. But then I had this accident. You know, I was pretty lucky because sometimes I drive with my eyes closed because, you know, only the blind can see. But I had this accident. I ran a stop sign. This accident was like it for me. I'm like, what are you doing? I've done the sex and the drugs and the rock and roll and the Europe and anarchy and now religion. So I went back to school and I met certain people like my husband. And you get on a different track. So if you're missing the sheets you bought when we met, I gave them away. The dog you left at the vet, I gave her away. You lied, so that's what you get. And if you've lost all your power to sleep at night, you've lost your belief things will be alright. You can't find your strength or your will to fight. Well, I've got all that too, and I'm not gonna give it back.
But back with the lost things, sometimes with organized crime, you'll find a body and it'll be missing something. Head, finger, something. And a lot of times, that's a sign. That's a signal. Like, we'll find a body out in the field or whatever without his head or hand, and that's a sign. And a lot of times, now, I've got nothing against homosexuals or the gay community, but a lot of times when a homosexual will kill another homosexual, their genitals will be missing. And that's a sign too. That's a signal. So we get a call from the super of this building. He finds a partially mummified human head in a paper bag in the garbage. Now he doesn't know what to do. Turns out this woman in this building, her husband died. And she's been dragging him around the apartment for weeks by his head.
Sure, I'll help find lost things. Lost pets. People call me all the time and they say, I lost Fluffy, can you help me find her? I'm a people psychic as well as a pet psychic. I took this class, I think it was back in the 80s at a community college. It was called Consciousness Frontiers. It was so much fun. I trained myself. Anyone can do it. You can do it. I used to be a stockbroker.
Where are you? Manhattan? Brooklyn? I ask because we see a lot of disposophobics in the village. I mean, take me for example, I'm in Queens. Exit Vinte Trace off the Long Island Distressway. Get it? Long Island Distressway?
So she's dragging him around so much that his head pops off. Now, she doesn't know what to do. So she puts the head in a paper bag out from the garbage. And the super finds it. It's crazy, right? You don't want to laugh. Sometimes you just gotta. Just never in front of the family.
I was talking to this old horse last week, right? He was a great old horse. And I asked him, how are things going? And he told me that things haven't been going so great for the rabbits. And I said, well, why not? And he told me that the rabbits go down to the water, right? And they drink it, and they get sick. So I said, well, why don't you tell the rabbits not to drink the water? And he said, you can't tell a rabbit nothing. I love that.
Disposophobics, and that's trademarked. They collect any old thing they'll find off the street. I mean, it could be anything from cat hair to rocks. It's all about emotional attachment with these people. They're attached to these things they find. Now, these people aren't stupid. They aren't well, but they aren't stupid. We see lots of lawyers, lots of teachers, lots of teachers. Lots of women teachers in particular.
You know, I once taught the seminar up at the Learning Annex on how to rid your life of clutter forever, and I can't tell you how many teachers showed up. And the people that came were of two types. Either they were there so I could teach them how to file, literally, Donna, how do I file? And I'm like, that's not what this seminar is for. I'm not here to teach you how to fucking file! Lots of teachers.
So I got a call from a friend of mine, right? He told me that his brother had been out fishing. Only the boat returned, but his brother was gone. And he asked me if I knew what happened, of course, because I'm a psychic. And so I had to tell him that his brother had a heart attack and he fell off the side of the boat. So then he wanted me to help try and find the body. So I was on the phone with him, and he was on the walkie-talkies, and he was talking to the divers. And it was like I was seeing behind the divers' eyes, and I saw the body. But by the time the message got to them, it was just too late. And his dead brother was sending me all kinds of messages, too. He told me that his son almost made him a grandfather. Apparently what happened was, his son got his girlfriend pregnant, and she had an abortion, and he didn't like that, so they ended up breaking up. I also work for the police department, mostly rape cases and murder cases, you know, but they don't acknowledge I work for them, and trust me, I wouldn't want them to.
Have you heard of the Colombian necktie? Yeah, that's where they slit your throat and pull your tongue out through the hole. The Colombian drug lords do this. This one time, isn't the terrible thing? This guy's whole family. They've been killed by the Colombian. Killed his wife, raped her 12-year-old daughter, sodomized their 9-year-old son, slit their throats, and hung them from a shower curtain rod. Now, shower curtain rods are a flimsy thing, you know? So I asked my superior, what the hell kind of shower curtain rod is that? You can hang a whole family. You don't want to laugh, but sometimes you just got it. It's either that or, you know?
Worst case I've seen. Well, that depends, because what are we talking about here? Are we talking the worst clutter, the worst stench, the worst roaches, most despicable person? Because a lot of these people are assholes, serious assholes. They yell, and they scream, and they treat you like crap, and I'm like, hey, you don't call me! You're about to get evicted, so don't fucking yell at me! I'm good. Now, at first I try love. If that doesn't work, then I have to use my Nazi approach. Or the mix between the Nazi and the Putin approach. How do I do what I do? Well, how do you do what you do? If someone came up to you on the street and was like, hey, how do you act? What would you say to them? I mean, come on. Now, most of these people have no sense of time. They've completely lost touch with reality. I get them to come back to reality by having them look at their watch. If that doesn't work, well, I'm trained in other techniques. For example, I'm trained in open eye hypnosis. I can hypnotize people while they're awake. Like if I said to you, don't think of a big blue house, and don't think of a green barn behind it. What'd you think of? You couldn't help but think of that, I'll bet. I'm trained in techniques like that. Now, what causes this? I mean, it can be anything from OCD to depression. Now, we all get depressed. I get depressed. You get depressed. Don't you? Don't you get depressed? I mean, why are you an actor, huh? Come on, why? So you can act like you're happy 90% of the time.
Ooh, there was this man, right? And he had the most beautiful Chattahoochee leopard dog I have ever seen. And he wanted me to ask the dog what the dog enjoyed most. So okay, I asked the dog, what do you enjoy most? And he said, a hot poop on a cold day. Now, how am I supposed to tell the man that? But I guess, what does a dog really have to worry about, right?
Well, I hope that helps you out. Here, let me get that for you. No, it's on me. Listen, life has been very kind to me. If I can help out some young people, I will. Hey, let me see your ID.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I lost it. Oh, no. Oh, come on, man. Please, I was just gonna go get some cigarettes, you know. I'm staying at my girl's place right around the corner. You know, I'm sorry, sir. I lost it. I don't know where it
Listen,
went.
if you don't shut the fuck up, not only are you going to jail,
Oh my God.
you're going to fucking Bellevue.
Oh, my God. Come on, man, please. I was just gonna get some cigarettes.
I wanna live in Shangri-La without you. Above the mountains where the snow falls down, I wanna sail away and find lost cities underneath the ocean floor. I wanna live in Xanadu without you, with cool black Khan so I can smoke my pipe and dream of you. I wanna sail away and learn what sin is in Sodom and Gomorrah, imaginary cities that lie under the ocean. And did you say I seem so far away? Am I okay? Why couldn't I stay? My boat is sinking into white Sargasso Sea. This is my lost horizon. This is my lost horizon. I'm gonna find Atlantis. Where nobody talks the way you do. I wanna sail away, find lost cities all full of Trojan horses, imaginary cities that lie under the ocean. And did you say I seem so far away? Am I okay? Why couldn't I stay? This is my lost horizon. This is my lost horizon. This is my lost horizon.
When you're talking about this psychology, I was wondering, does Freud have anything to say about it? And I'll take my answer off the air.
All right. Thank you, Linda, for that question. So, Dr. Polinaris, is there a Freudian Atlantis?
If you want to see those eels as phallic symbols, then maybe. But I'm glad the caller asked that. Of course Freud has to say something about this. Let's take an example. Like a little box of cookies. Freud would say you had a reason why you lost those cookies. Maybe your mother told you you were getting fat. Either that, or those cookies were a particular favorite of somebody's. Somebody you hold dear. And you felt guilty that you could enjoy those cookies when that other person could not.
So even when we don't know it, our actions make sense?
Yes, Terry, but what I'd like to ask back is nostalgia. It's a kind of pain, because algia means pain, and nostos, the Greek word, means homecoming. So that means nostalgia is the pain we get from homecoming. But it's not a pain, it's a pleasure. And if Linda said she liked Freud, one might say, sometimes we have to lose something in order to enjoy it. Or we enjoy it better that way. I could say you're in there, Terry. I think I would like some cookies to dip into my cup of tea. But I think those cookies taste better in my head than if you actually gave me some. Is that Platonic thinking? Or is that Freudian? I don't know, but that's nostalgia. Freud himself never uses the word, though.
Okay, well, thank you for that explanation. Hopefully that satisfies Linda. We're getting a little far from Atlantis now, so...
Funny you should mention it. Do you know how Freud first became a scientist?
How?
Well, his first job, he was asked to do a university study to find the missing testes of the eel.
Oh, so I guess there is a connection.
Yes, but it's not like they were missing. It's just, oh dear, what did I do with my eel gonads? The reproduction of the eel is still a mystery. We don't know how they do it, we just simply know where.
In Atlantis.
Sargasso Sea, but yes. Even when we think science has solved so much, there's always that one bit of mystery.
Hello, ready? All right, here's the bit. You see, I was living in Fulburn in the 1960s, and, well, my wife had just left me, so I was drinking a lot, doing lots of drugs, having sex with a lot of women. And you see, I woke up this one morning in this college in Cambridge, didn't know who was in the bed next to me, didn't really know where I was, and so I decided to walk home. And it's about an hour and a half's walk back. And so I'm on my way home, and the sun's coming up, and I'm thinking, hey, that lamp is still on. Lamp post. You see, it's like my mind was a computer. Now, keep in mind, these hadn't been invented yet. But it's like my mind was a computer, and it was racing itself to find the word before it was deleted. And so I'm walking along these railroad tracks, and I'm like, hey, that's a big fence. Hey, look, there's my shoe. But I just couldn't seem to find the word. And so I got home, and my mates didn't know what to do with me. I mean, I was eating and sleeping and doing all sorts of everyday normal things. I just wasn't talking. And I mean, it went on for a couple days. And then one morning I woke up and my words had just returned. I don't know how it happened, don't know why it happened, but is that good for you? Does that work? All right, chap, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Once I was lucky in tabula rasa. I soaked up information like wedding invitations. I knew that the capital of Congo was Kinshasa, and every other nation were friends of my vacation. I'm an etch-a-sketch, but now I'm all shook up. I'm a piece of wax, but now the imprint's lost. The works of Trollope, periodic table, and where to buy men's suits or fashionable boots. The setting and the moral of each of Aesop's fables, all kinds of foreign fruits, and how to play the flute. Lately, though, I find that I'm not quite as able to come up with square roots or trivial pursuits. I'm an etch-a-sketch, but now I'm all shook up. I'm a piece of wax, but now the imprint's lost. I can't remember the things that I was thinking, like when do chickens baste, or how a kiss should taste. Who is the president who came after Lincoln? My blackboard's been erased. My blackboard's been erased.
Well, in my situation, I've lost everything valuable to me. Just remember, unless it's hanging off you or nailed on you, hang on to it, because it all goes. The hypocrisy of these people who'd come to help. They would come in the morning and say, "Oh, what a lovely smile, Mrs. Weller," and then it would be gone. There were so many people willing to help, I couldn't put anything on any one person, and I'm glad. I made a crocheted blanket. It took me weeks to make it, because I'm sitting around all the time. I can do this. And it wasn't the kind with, the circles. God, I hate those. So I went into the hospital, and I thought I should put this away as I go. Someone might want to take it. I should tuck this away. So I folded it and put it right into the closet. I knew exactly where I put it. And when I went back into that hospital, I kept it there, because I still was worried someone was going to take it. And when time came here, it was gone. Gone! You have to defend yourself until the day you die. Until you just can't anymore. Because who else is going to do it for you? Because they'll take anything. Not necessarily China, because no one has a place for it anymore. Everyone lives in those one-bedroom apartments. Nothing lasts. And silver, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know beans about polishing it or using it or what to do with it. People should buy from the 5 and dime.
Hi.
Long time no see.
How you been?
Good, how are you?
Well, first let me start by saying that I put things places all the time, and I cannot remember where I put them. And you have to talk really slow and clear, because it's just the speed I process information at. That said, my mama had a very thin necklace. Not silver, not white gold, platinum, with 3 diamonds all in a line. And my mama, she didn't like jewelry. She thought people who wore jewelry were a little, crazy. So she gave it to me. Well, one day I was on my way downtown, and there were these 3 guys, and they were across the street, and they were laughing. I was 18 at the time, and they were laughing. So I reached in and checked for my slip. Remember women wore slips at this time?
Yeah.
And I kept walking, and I checked for the necklace later, and it was gone. I must have snapped the chain. It was so thin.
Oh, no.
Then I had to tell my mama. And my mama, she was not a nice lady. She was not a good mama. And I try to block out the bad things. I only remember the good things. But if my mama was anything like she was back then, she really let me have it. Okay. Girl, let's go get your hair fixed. Come on. Okay.
When I lost my keys, you told me the words of Plato, that our possessions are only shadows, echoes of fate. So the things that you lose, you never possessed. You're only remembering, only remembering, and all we see is stars falling from so far away. The things that we see are just memories of the things that used to be. So I know that you understand that nothing we had is real. We're just trying to get back to a place we knew before. So when I leave you, you'll know I'm just a shadow, an echo. You never possessed me, never possessed me, and all we see is stars falling from so far away. The things that we see are just memories of the things that used to be.
recollection, how we lose things, even our memory. Put it this way, Terry. I'm an old man. My memory's not as good as it used to be. But when I first came here to America, I was very surprised. Because you see here, I found out that the memories here are very short.
Short? You mean like a goldfish culture with a 5-minute memory?
I was like that once.
I think we all were.
Well, why don't I tell you one last story, Terry? In ancient Greece, there was a poet by the name of Simonides. And he's invited to perform at a banquet hall, where a king, who is the host, has offended the gods. But, like I said, Simonides is a poet. He praises the gods, and the gods love him back. So after he's done performing, a messenger arrives, telling him, Simonides, there's somebody waiting for you outside. He goes outside, there's no one there. But that very moment, the banquet hall collapsed.
Wow, the gods were on his side, I guess.
Yes, but the story, Terry, because there were so many people invited to that banquet hall, and all of them lost when it collapsed. And their grieving families, who came to take their bodies away for burial, could not even tell which was which because their bodies were so mangled. But Simonides closed his eyes and remembered his performance to every one of the guests and the king, and even the party settings. And thus he could tell the grieving families which were their dead. The Greeks called Simonides the inventor of the art of memory, for this very reason.
What an evocative story.
Yes, and it's no accident that he became a poet, because nostalgia, it's just a way to still hold on to the things we have lost. We use a lot of words for this. Literary fiction, myth, heck, even the word nostalgia itself. To still hold on to what we have lost, by remembering, by commemorating.
Big things too, right? Continents.
Big, little, even like something like my car keys are important too. My wife, Madeline, she's been dead for 6 years now. But come December, she was so fond of telling me, Alex, this world is made up of little things. What is important is to see them largely.
And I think you've helped us do that, Doctor.
Well, I hope so, Terry. Just a little.